So good evening and welcome to the Donny Chaingang with me, Matt Payne, live here at the Full Speed Events Old Beer Cellar Studios, and nice and cool down here, not so cool out there. Really warm night tonight, and a lot of people I think have got extra fans in and are really going to be suffering today, as that temperature really does take its toll. And on the hottest day of the year, where else would we be going? But we're going up a volcano to the top of a mountain. This is Russ the Bear, our yellow beacon, really making people suffer. A couple of quick housekeeping notes before we go too much further. Quick heads up, when we get to the Tour de France weeks, the 3 weeks, we've got some Tour de France specials. Expect to see some different stages, more details on that through the show. And remember, the members of the DCG gang, the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, have got a big giveaway in there as well. And of course, they know where we're heading for all 6 stages and how far they are, just where we're going to be going up and where we're going to be going down and where the finishes are going to be. Big advantage in being a member of the DCG gang, the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club. Now, we are going to be cutting straight across to the one and only Bear, Russ Downing, who at the moment, the Bear is nursing an injury, and the question is he going to be in one piece to the end of the ride? So, this is HQ calling a poorly Bear. Are you there, Russ?
All good, mate. Back to normal. 35 minutes warm up, as though nothing's ever happened.
I was going to say, this digging, it's not good for you, is it, Russ?
Now digging, lifting hollow blocks, and I think last month or so, 2 months, has taken its toll, But we're getting there now. So as they're saying, I think we broke the camel's back, and now every hour we put into it, it's getting further to the finish. So I think the triple Grand Tour's nearly over.
Well, it does sound like it's been a bit of an epic, and we've got a bit of a beastie tonight for everybody, heading up to the Volcano after party. But it's not actually that hilly a route if you look at the total distance, because of course the laps round, it's just shy of 3 laps, are relatively flat. So taking it relatively easy on everybody, given how hot it is.
Yeah, as if it's not hot enough, let's go and ride through a bloody volcano, and then finish with an eruption at the top. So, but like you say, it's rolling to the base of the climb, and then it just gets harder and harder and hotter. So, yeah, that's the DCG, though, isn't it? Really, it's what happens.
It is, and we've got a new rider tonight with Brad Cheeseman with us. So good to have you with us. Brad, and I know he's already been on the message board, so we'll see if he's as quick as Tom Lindley. Lindley is super fast, and we know he's always going to push himself. And I think another one of the Vin Donahue stable.
Yeah, he's converting. I think that's much all we talk about at school, isn't it? The DCG, so great education.
Yeah, I wish we had this when I was at school. That's for sure. I might actually paid attention at some point.
Right, Ryan, what do you want to do that for, son? Come on, chase that funny shape ball.
I think when I left, I was told that I'd been freewheeling all the way through most of school by the teacher who thought it was funny. So there you go. Ended up making a living out of it. So on to the volcano. We're going to head soon. You've got 3.5 minutes to make sure everybody knows what they're doing, including our new ones. So going to be interesting, and it looks like we've got a Mr. Canham on as well, who I suspect is another Donahue, another Donahue conversion by the sounds of it. So it's going to be rather busy. Although the numbers nice and controllable, but it does mean if you're off the back, it is hard. Speaking to one rider, they are. They've found it so hard, in fact, that they're waiting until we get a few more people sitting around Red, because it's so difficult. So we've got an experienced Red tonight in the shape. I think it's Craig Genther, is it not, tonight?
Yes, I think it is, actually. Yeah, sort of totally lost myself there. Yeah, I think he posted a flaming bus or something, didn't he, on Facebook? So he knew the weather was going to get hot and the climb was getting hot. So yeah, he chose the right bus.
Definitely, it's going to be a scorcher tonight. So let's see how everyone gets in. We'll let you get all the troops briefed and get those legs finally spun into the last little bit of shape they're going to need for tonight's ride.
I'm just having a quick toilet stop, actually, Matt. I think I've been down in the hydro while on the build today, and it's done its job. So yeah, I'll nip to the toilet and I'll be back.
Hydrated man. I'll see you in a minute. Great to hear from Mr. Too Much Information, Russ Downing, and we're going to head across whilst Russ gets ready for the ride, because of course there's no stopping mid-ride, to the one and only Volcano map. Now, we come off from the start. We're into the undersea tunnels very quickly, so it's important to take it easy from the start through the climbs to the Italian villas as if we're going through towards sprint. However, we quickly drop down before we get to those sprint lines around the volcano. We go around the outside of the volcano with a couple of little excursions in across the big glass bridge and back into the start. We do that loop twice, but then on the third lap, after the tunnels, after the long climb towards the villas, the drop down, we take a sharp right and spiral our way round the volcano all the way up to the top. And for those who haven't ridden before, the finish line, wherever the blue banner is immaterial. The finish line, it is the king of the mountains on the top, because it changes, because it varies for riders when you have a blue banner in there. What we've got, we have a fixed point every time, and that keeps it simple. And that's why we love Zwift, because it gives us this flexibility to build routes, distances, to make sure that we can get just what we want out of that workout and get a nice increased ramp, which is why we see so many FTPs and why we get so many people loving the Chaingang. Now, the yellow beacon, of course, is Russ, who we've just been speaking to. Our red beacon is Craig Genther. Craig will have the red chevron hovering above him. Both riders are in the Downing Cycling, the Coach Downing Cycling riders kit, so they're in the grey kit with the green banner down the side. Now, 3 laps, 266 metres in total. If we show you the fantastic profile that comes courtesy of Veloviewer, you'll see where all that height climb is. You can see the big lap that we go out and round the tunnels, going underground out to the far side of the right hand side, but the big climb all at the end, and that is where it is all going to come down to who has got the legs to get up. It's a stepped climb, so it's not a long drag. Kick, go, kick, go, kick, go. That is how this ride will work, and that is what the riders have to do. So massive thank you to Veloviewer, and of course the guys at Strava. A big thank you to the guys at Zwift Hacks and Zwift Insider, the place to go if you are going to be going on a ride, to be able to see exactly where the ride is heading. Don't forget, of course, that we have plenty of riders out on course now. Riders just starting to make their way out from the start. So let's head across. Bear that map in mind and go over to Zwift, the wonderful platform that is host to the Donny Chaingang, live here on the Downing Cycling YouTube channel. So as you can see, our helicopter overhead of the riders, and now the Russ back from his OTE break. OTE, of course, one of our key supporters on the Donny Chaingang, and as you can see, our riders just starting to make their way down onto the roads proper, and they're soon going to be heading out towards the tunnels. The group needing to reform, already a little bit strung out. So OT for us, OT for me, and of course I get the advantage that I am relatively stationary whilst we're doing the commentary, which means that, of course, I get to have the Grand Tour coffee as well. And if you are a member of the DCG gang, the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, a massive thank you from Russ and me. Without your support, we just cannot keep the ride on the road. It's just not physically possible. And gotta say, a massive thank you to all of the supporters, people like Grand Tour Coffee, to Gritty, to 1080 and all of the Oakley and Ian Taylor, to the guys at Velo Skin, to OT and Halo. All of the guys really do make a huge difference looking after our riders who are members of the DCG gang and making sure we can give those members as many discounts as possible. So the group just about starting to get itself together. I think all of the riders are pretty much in one place, and we're going to jump in with the riders down in the gang and watch Mr. Genther. So Craig Genther down here is the red beacon on his head. Just keeping an eye, no doubt, on the riders just starting to join. We always get one or two late starters, so it does pay as a beacon just to roll up. You can just see Brad just rolling his way into the back of the group there, but it looks like pretty much everybody is together at the moment, and this is all around rolling around with that yellow beacon and making sure that you don't get distance sitting in the wheels as much as possible. Save as much energy as you can as our riders now head down into the tunnels. This feature in the world of Zwift, the key feature. As our riders drop into the tunnels, the group pretty much all together. You just see just starting to form its way up, and looks to me like Brad just starting to feel his way around the game here. He's just starting to test where the how easy it is to get onto the riders, where you need to sit on the way through, and certainly seems to me like pretty much everybody is rolling together quite well at the moment. Just in with Craig Genther. Good to have Craig Herring in the group here. So Craig Herring is our rider with the disc. The Genther is the one with the beacon on his head. Both regulars on the chain gang, both regular gurus of information when it comes to tech, when it comes to being able to ride, and always great guys to because we know that they're going to help our riders and look after everybody who is out there. So as we watch this group at the back reform, the dolphins swimming alongside, our riders just starting to make their way out through the tunnels. The pace is pretty hot at the moment, but we've seen it quicker at the moment. The front of the group rolling around at about the 2 to 2.5. Just trying to get the back of the group back together once again. So this group riding nicely as they go through the tunnels. Let's pull the map up top right hand side of the screen here, and you will see the top section here. The group is all together. Let's zoom in a little bit, not breaking up, and that's what we want to see. We've used the 3D view. We're going to be going straight on here, then round in towards the next set of tunnels. At the moment, I think Rich Orrell just dropping back to give a little bit of company to the guys at the back there to help them out on the chain gang. So just seeing, I think, one of our late starters just making the way onto the back of the gang here. Mr. Green just starting 100 metres down, just dropping in with them. Rich, looks like Greg Charlton is in this group. Keith Richardson, Kieran Smithies with us, interestingly. Mr. Canham in there. We've got Paul Simonite. Simonite running really strongly at the moment. We've got Mr. Doxy back with us as well. So Doxy there in the dark grey, I think. Just see if we drop up above him over the tunnels, and that group just rolling around well together. You see our riders way underneath the sea at the moment. That yellow beacon just flowing its way up and through the group already, just fracturing a little, and we're about to hit the climb, this little drag out from the tunnels for the first time. First point where it's very easy to be distanced. So Andy Halls has been out on tour. If you've been watching the feed for the Tour of Britain, Andy, of course, route designer and route meister of the Tours of Britain, the men's and women's, and of course a key member of the Sweet Sport team that bring the Tour of Britain. And good to have Andy a regular on the chain gang. Andy regularly in Shelley Charles's conservatory. Shelley there in the black kit on the blue and black Zwift Aero bike there. Shelley, of course, one of the key men when involved in cycling across the country, as well as being out in Wales. Now, one very fast rider is this man, a 19-minute 59-second sub 20-minute 10-mile time trial for Adi Dench at the weekend. Super fast, and one of the real good guys in the gang here. Certainly somebody who's going to move very fast indeed when we get to the hills, if his legs have got anything left in them. But 19:59, sub 20 minutes. Congratulations, mate. It's a massive target. It basically means that for the 10 miles, Eddie was riding faster than 30 miles an hour. You know, we are not worthy stuff, definitely, because Eddie's no spring chicken. He's not like he's 17 anymore. Eddie just wishes he was. But I'll tell you something, he is absolutely flying, and congratulations, absolutely big respect to the man. Now that he's hit that target, and I'm sure he's going to be chasing to go quicker. So some fast riders in with the gang tonight. Looks like Nick Dorsey is in here, the best dressed man on the chain gang always. And just keep an eye on Nick there. So Nick in that ruler top. We should know he'd be in with a little bit of style. Just rolling his way along. Looks like Mr. Osman in with the gang as well. But this pack working well together, so we're going to just keep our eye on them as they head down through the bridges, heading away from the big mountains of Swift and head towards the long hairpin climbs up that bring our riders up towards the Italian village before that left dive just as we go into town. So the riders coming over the bridge, you can just see following the riders through, just coming over the bridge, the beacon there on Russ. Now Russ, interestingly, changing his wheels to some lightweight wheels. He was warming up actually on disc and a deep rim, but going across on that green and black Pinarello to some lightweight wheels, which is great to see. So we're across to some shallower rims, something like a carbon halo, I'm sure will be Russ's wheel of choice. But the gang at the moment all behaving itself, which is what we want to see, and I think pretty much everybody rolling together. The Red Beacon getting a bit of assistance here. Now, it's one of the things that's been noticed is that because there are less riders, the Red Beacon going and doing the work on their own is not able to give much assistance as one person to a solo rider at the back, and that means that it really is hammering some of the riders to get dropped. Where it's working is when we're seeing the groups coming back, so we're seeing multiple riders going back and helping the beacon do the job and dragging the riders forward into the pack to get that shelter, and that is really, really hard work, going back and forwards and back and forwards. But if you're a strong rider, it's a great way to make sure that you get it absolutely on the limit early on. Maybe open your legs up, give your legs a stretch. It's a great way to do that. So great to see so many riders in here, lots of very, very familiar names. The total numbers at 52, and I think it's a nice small number. We haven't had so few for quite a while, but the summer months it was always going to drop off as the weather gets better, and we expected that. Good thing is, of course, we are going to be here all the way through. It doesn't matter how many delays to whatever stage where we are in lockdown, we'll be here. The chain gang will be rolling all the way through. We may have 1 or 2 weeks where Russ is going to be taking a break, and we'll have a stand-in Russ, so maybe 1 or 2 weeks where we're not going to be pinging the broadcast out in the same way. But do you know what? Russ and I have been doing this for a long time now, and it seems that it's a bit like Groundhog Day every Tuesday and Thursday. We always try to catch up, always see where we're at, see who's on the ride, work out what's going to happen and where, and then it all goes out the window at the moment the ride starts, just like a good ride should do and a good chain gang should do. So the pack all together now on to the climbs. We drop in the gradient and open the map up a little bit wider. You see we are on those long lozenge shaped climbs after coming away from the tunnels. Now when we get to the top, it's a sharp left, and once we get around that sharp left, we then roll our way down past the waterfalls, taking a left down at the fountain and down in towards the causeway that takes us across towards the volcano. So Kieran Smith just rolling around at the back of that pack. Let's keep an eye on Kieran. So Kieran, one of the very fast riders on Chain Gang, regularly a rider who was taking victory after victory after victory, and a rider who is basically got a bright future as a pro. If he ever wants it, he's a very quick man indeed, and always plays the game, jumps off the back, does his work at the back of the group before going up onto the front. So as we go over the top here, you can just see this group are working well and just starting to stretch out, and just keeping an eye on them as they head out and round. The two beacons at the back, just keeping the brakes on the group from going too mad. Great to see the pack working really well together at the moment. So whilst the group's working well together, quick heads up if you are heading out and about wondering where we're going to be up to. Russ's got plenty of rides planned, as well as building the pain cave. Russ, of course, ex-national champ, ex-professional rider in the pro peloton, still, of course, riding for a living. Russ has got lots of rides planned on the way through, none past the waterfalls, which is where we're heading now. So the group's just starting to fracture as it comes past the fountain. You can already see the nose of the group well into the dustier sections of the trail here. As we drop down, it's going to show just where those gaps are. We're going to get up in the sky with the helicopter. It's going to work its way in and out, and you can just see the riders at the moment all over the dirt road. Now, Russ heading out and doing some real rides out in the real world as well as on Zwift. Make sure you give him a follow on Instagram. Great Instagram feed from Russ, lots of info on there, lots of great pictures and stories as well. I'm going to be heading out and down towards the southeast, or the eastern side of the north side of the Thames, the eastern side, because I'm going down towards Ipswich. Got 3 days of mountain biking planned, so going to be down at Phoenix Bike Park, I think on Friday. Going to be over at Twisted Oaks on Saturday, and they're going to go see a good friend, G, the man behind Mud, Sweat and Gears East, and I think it's going to be a mountain bike race on the Sunday, although I'm not racing, I'm not that daft. However, our yellow women's beacon is, our women's Wednesday's beacon in the shape of Emma, is going to be out and racing on Sunday in the race at the MSG race, and still time to enter that race as well. So got the Mud, Sweat and Gears for Emma in terms of the race I get to watch, which is a good move. Russ out and on the bike, and lots of Donny Chaingang riders meeting up in real life, which is great to see. Please do keep putting those posts on the Facebook page. That Facebook page is there to support people. It's there to be a positive place where everybody can post on there, get some support, some tech advice, whether it's advice about shoes, clipless pedals, whether it's about how to wire your turbo up, whether it is meeting up, going out, getting some inspiration to ride. There are plenty of riders who are out and racing, just getting their inspiration from coming on the Chaingang. So please, guys, make sure you keep it positive. Make sure you get those posts coming on. We want to see the pictures out there. If I'm stuck down in the studio, it's about the only way I get to see a lot of the riding. So anybody riding along the bottom of this section rather well, we are going to head up onto the climb. And it looks like Mr. Genter, the red beacon, just ticking along nicely at the back. The scenery going past as the group comes back together. We're going to be heading out towards the top of the climb. Now, this is where the turning is when we come to the third lap. So just playing catch up on all of the messages. You see the message board pinging along as our riders go up on to the climb here. And good to see Vin is just keeping a check of everybody. Some of our past miscreants getting name checked on the way through for riding off the front. Don't often get to call anybody a muppet at the moment. I'm having to take it out on my son, who's come back from university and now gets called muppet when he does things like nearly falls off the roof on the ladders or something. Have to get me muppetry quotes in that way, because everybody generally be heading and keeping the group together. Remember, the aim of this is a group ride. It's a chain gang. Once the signal is given by Russ, then it is all about how fast you can get to the finish. To that point, it's all about keeping everybody together and working together to keep everybody moving. So just be really, really careful on the way through, guys. We want to keep that pack together. Don't push on the front too much. If you want to go hairing off, you want to go race on Swift, there are thousands of rides out there. Quite literally, there's only one Donny Chaingang, and we keep it as special as we can. We patrol the Facebook pages. Yes, I was at the weekend on the editing and on the Sunday morning at about 5 in the morning. It is a regular job for Russ and I and the moderators. A massive thank you to our moderator crew on there as well. We have 3 additional moderators on as well as Russ and myself, and a massive thank you to them. Please remember, if you are posted on Facebook or on the message boards, it's a family show. We have lots of youngsters that we are absolutely proud as punch come along and ride with us and get a great workout. Learn that cycling is a great community place to go, ride and to grow up in. Therefore, please remember, what you post on there, you want to think that your son, daughter, grandma, granddad and the rest of the world can see. We do keep a check of it, we do keep a record of it, just like we do of all of the chain gangs, and just like chain gang, we have lots more eyes watching than most people are aware of. Don't say you weren't warned. So I think it's time to go catch up with Russ, as we're about to head on to the Gloss Bridge. Let's see if we can find him first of all in the pack, because he is down in here somewhere. Here we go. So we're going to try and keep an eye on Russ, and then let's see if we can have a chat with him as well. So Russ, how are you doing?
I'm alright, so I just looked at the screen and I was getting dropped.
Well, it's quite rapid tonight, but the group is working pretty well together. And this is what the thing, sometimes we seem to have a bit more speed variation because it goes quicker, because if you get a load of quick guys, it's motoring.
Yeah, I think they're all getting carried away, dissing Kai and all that, and they just look down, send a few lengthy messages explaining himself, and I'm dropped.
Well, I think it's one of those things, isn't it? I mean, there's been a lot of people who get it and they jump on, they ride with the gang and they totally get it, and there's other people who just get carried away, and there's plenty of rides, as we were saying, for them, but of course there is only one Donny Chaingang, and we've got to say a massive thank you to everybody who keeps it as special as it is.
Yeah, you know, we've never changed the format since day one. It's always been steady roll out, keep tight, look after everyone, crash it at the end, and you know, so you know, the people who come on think it's something different. You don't like it, don't come back. But you know, it's great. You know, we've got to see Shelley Childs rolling the front, throwing his sponsors out there, isn't he?
He has to. You know, he's like many of us. You've got to keep it, you know, dead centre on your screen of who you're working for. And I mean, it is great to see so much of the industry, people like Halo, Wheels, OT, Skin supporting us. You know, 1080 and Ian Taylor. I've lost count of the number of sets of Oakleys he's given away, as well as things like t-shirts and caps. And the guys, of course, at Grand Tour Coffee. And of course, we've got a great Tour de France coming up. The members of the DCG gang, the supporters club, are going to get some real treats, and there's a bit of a challenge out there, isn't there, for our riders?
Yeah, you know, we just we mentioned who was there, the guy who's going to support the DCG Tour de France is actually going to be at the Tour de France, so we might get a few inside inside little clips, videos, something. We'll see what we can do. Keep people busy for the 3 weeks. But yeah, it's shaping up to be a good one. We went last year, didn't we? Supported Connor, and that was great. So this year, I'm not seeing the lineup. I don't actually know if there's going to be a DCG rider at the Tour this year, which is a damn shame.
Well, we're going to have to see. We can always lay claim to somebody. We must have at least one of the DSs who has ridden the Chaingang. So it may well be that something like Matt Winston might be there, and of course, as Craig Harry's just said on the message board, of course, Bryce Smithy, regular Chaingang rider, is going to be on the mic, I'm sure, commentating and doing all of the gear on Eurosport. So he's always he's our de facto presence on the tour.
Yeah, you mentioned Matt Winston there. Matt over there. Then we've got Stephen De Jong, Trek Segafredo. He's been on the gang. He'll probably be at the tour. So yeah, if we can't do riders, we're going to have to do support crew. So we're going to have quite a few there, who've help keep the show on the road. So great. So why not have 3 weeks in France?
Definitely, and the stages are looking good. We're not going to give them away over the TV screens to non-members. The members get a heads up. They know where they're going in those 3 weeks, and they are getting those already. They've got some of the details. They're getting a heads up if they want to go pre-ride to learn the courses. So they've got a good idea. Everybody else, you're going to have to wait at least another week before we even give away any of the stages and where we're heading. Or, of course, you can make sure you join the gang, and it's going to be important. I'll give you a heads up now. It's important that if you want to be in it to win it, you are a member of the DCG gang in June and July. Not just July. You need to be June and July because, of course, the tour is starting in June this year, and it's quite an early start, I think, Russ.
Yeah, it's normally, isn't it, last week in June, 1st of July sort of thing, but now it's a few days, 26th it's starting on, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 26th, and the route looks really interesting, and we've got a final time trial, I think the day before Paris, on the real Tour de France, and some interesting mountains. So it's going to be really good to see just how people get on, and of course, like you say, how our riders, if we have any there, and how the DSs and the teams go. So going to be fun. We're one lap into our ride here today on the Chaingang, and it looks to me like everybody's feeling a little bit of the heat because they're all very well behaved.
Can't ask for a better scenario, really. I was moaning and whinging earlier that I had a stiff back, and I think I've rode it out at this lovely tempo. So yeah, thanks for looking after the old grizzly bear gang, and I'll pay you back later. I'll give you one less K to go or something.
Well, that would be very entertaining, wouldn't it? You mean instead of like last week where it went really early, like loads, and everybody was just getting ripped to pieces. So we'll see. It's a little practice. I'm going to let you go back and concentrate and keep an eye on everybody and do what you do best for us to keep those legs turning. And hopefully we'll talk again before you've gone over the finish line, but I'm not going to guarantee that one on this course because you never know.
Yeah, just as we're going through the volcano and it's like
yeah, about 12% or so, that'll be fine.
200 degrees Fahrenheit or something.
Yeah, something like that. That'd be cool. I don't even know what the inside temperature of Volcano is. I'm sure somebody on the Chaingang will know and be able to tell us.
Everyone's Swift cake, the same temperature in it, this weather.
Yeah, pretty much. I think so.
It's just the same. Volcano came after party, DCG pain cake. Same.
Definitely. Love it. That could be where we're at. It might be the next title on the feed on the YouTube. So great stuff for us. Enjoy the tempo rising, and let's see if the thermometer rises as fast as the pace does.
Cheers, mate. Well, we've got 26k to go. What's the climb? About 4k long, is it?
Yeah, about that. 4-5k. It's not long and it's steppy. It's my kind of climb. It doesn't drag. It's not interminable. It is a step climb. So it's...
I like that little downhill just before the steep bit at the end. I'll draw a few people back, but I'm going to have an easy night tonight.
Yeah, right. We'll see. Cheers, Russ. So great to catch up with Russ out there, and make sure if you're watching this for the first time, you get yourselves onto Zwift. you could be doing this. It's simple. The Chain Gang is free for everyone. Russ and I set this up to basically give everybody something to look forward to through lockdown number 1. We're now 18 months later almost, and we are still bringing you rides Tuesdays and Thursdays. You can ride for free. Go onto the Facebook pages, go onto the website, and look for the how to join. You can join Ride by Ride for free. If you want to get the links direct to your inbox to be able to go do this, then it's really simple. Join and give us a donation, and that donation is £20 a month. That means that you get all of the links for the month direct to your inbox. You get a preview of the courses. You get our take on it, so you get my take as a commentator and a rider on Zwift. You also get Zwift Insider's take on there, the links to Zwift Insider, the links to the videos of the previous rides and some good examples of what bikes to ride. We also give you a whole load of discounts, so you soon get your donation back. If you were to buy OTE, sunglasses from Oakley, from 1080, Fella Skin products, which are going to keep you sitting comfortably and super smooth as well, Halo wheels, gritty kit, sustainable cycling clothing, all that's coming out to you, and all you need to do is join the gang. Really easy way to go. If you can't afford it, we get that. That's why we're always going to be here, and we're always going to be bringing you the coverage for free and bringing you the ride for free. So please guys, make sure if you can sign up. It helps Russ and I bring you this. You don't want to know how many cables, bits of kit, microphones, cameras and processors we have blown apart on the way to getting the show to you. So please make sure you give some support on the way through and join the DCG gang. And of course, remember, if you want to be in it to win it in the Tour de France competitions, you have to be a member, and you have to be in June and in July. A quick tip from the top: make sure you practice taking pictures of yourself riding on Zwift. Make sure you get that avatar sharp focus. That's what we're after. Right, back to the Riding Enough sales promo, that is for sure. Let's head into the ride and let's see where our riders are up to. The gang looking reasonably well together, and looks like a few little zigzags for people out there. Just keeping an eye on Craig. Craig currently sitting at 7 seconds off the very front of the pack at the moment. They are well strung out. And Craig, with tech issues, means that he's now just ridden a 0.7k. So tech issues for the Red Beacon. He's got it back and got it nailed. So fantastic stuff from our Beacon. So our Beacon well on his way back to joining the gang, and now heading on to the bridges comes the peloton here, and you can just see everybody just starting to reform, and those gaps starting to come down. Russ just pushing up a little bit there on that green and black Pinarello, really winding his way up just to make sure that the front slows off enough to let the back get back on and all together again. So the riders are moving well over the bridge here, just keeping a check on the bunch just reforming as they come back together. Just watching pretty much everybody back in the Red Beacon, getting back in. A massive thank you to Rich Orrell for doing the honours whilst we were waiting for the group to reform. Just going to take a little bit of a look from the front to the back of the pack as we are heading our way in to the group here. So let's keep a check on them. Looks like Andy Hall's riding nicely in with the pack. Craig having to push on to get back in there. So Andy there in that white and black jersey, working well on the big long loop. Remember, we still got the left hand, right hand turn, so you can just see the riders all pretty much together. That beacon just tagging along at the back of the pack. Craig Genther, one of our regular riders on the Chaingang, just making sure he's in touch with the riders. Andy currently 141 beats per minute, 230 watts coming from Andy, and looks like that group pretty much together. So it looks like Russ doing a little bit of canvassing of opinions at the moment of just how far people want to be heading. Shelley Charles has got 1k to go. That's what he's putting it in. I'm with you, Shelley, mate. Ted, even better tomorrow. Liking it. That's what we want to see. 2k go. Yeah, Mr. Bolt. He said no, nothing. Thursdays from Dr. D. Late as possible from AD. It is absolutely flying. I'm loving it. Craig Genther, no, definitely not right this moment. That is definitely not the case. So keeping an eye on our riders. It's looking like pretty much everybody in this pack just about keeping it together. Just in with Tom Lindley as we make our way around the top. Just seeing a few riders the back here, but our two beacons basically in tandem. So as the pack motors on, it looks to me like the beacon's just getting distance here. Dangerous to leave them behind, but looks like there's been a bit of a breakaway clear from Russ at the moment. On lap 2, we're going to jump in with Russ here, and he's in the second group on the road. You can see how big that gap has got. We're going to just try and jump up in the air, see if we get a helicopter view. You can see the gap between them. Let's get a time check on that. The gap at the moment between our leading group and the beacon group is 8 seconds. 8 seconds from the guys at the front, so the front needs to back it off a little bit. See, as Andy Hall says, it's always dangerous to mention the 3 words that are all the same but all mean it's going to start hurting, because the gaps have opened up here. Our yellow beacon, we're just keeping an eye on who is rolling with him. It looks like pretty much all the regulars sitting down there, and it looks like Kieran Smith right on his heels. So it looks like Chris Cannon just being distanced a little bit back into the pack. Phil Oliver has just had a drop out, so it looks like Phil just out of that group. The pack just starting to come back together. Still a few miscreants up the road. What's that word? Miscreants, ne'er-do-wells, and other such assorted words. So the packs are just starting to come back together as we go across the causeway, heading in towards the Volcano once again. This is lap number 2. If we pop up our head-up display, you can see we are with Russ and Russ in that yellow beacon, that column of light. 21k covered for Russ at the moment. 84 meters of the climbing done. Remember, it's 266. The bulk of that is up in the climb to the top of the volcano. The majority of this group together. We're just keeping an eye on the riders. Looks like Craig gets there, our red beacon just out the back, just having to push on a little bit. So you can see Craig distance substantially different to Rich Orton. That is because Craig get a bit of a drop out, currently closing on the back wheel at 28 meters and ticking down. So the group nicely into lap 2. They've got to get up the climb in through the little section of the volcano. So this is the climb coming up here. I'm going to take this sharp right hand turn, and still once again plenty of pressure being put on the front here. So up the turn they go. They're going to take the left hand turn around the corner here, and as they make their way around that corner, pretty much everybody keeping it together. Looks like Shelley Charles nice to touch there. Dick Samuel in the group as well, just seen him go through. Always pays to have a distinctive different kit. If one of the big questions we always get asked is there a Downing Cycling kit the same as the Donny Chaingang kit? Well, it's really simple. There is no Donny Chaingang kit, and one of the reasons we don't have a Donny Chaingang kit, one of the key reasons, is that it pays to be able to distinguish you. If you're all in the same jerseys, you wouldn't be able to pick yourselves out. You wouldn't know where your riders that you regularly ride with. If you regularly ride with 80 Dates, you'll know he's in that red and white jersey of the bikes and beers. If you regularly ride with Andy Hawes, you'll know he's in the white midriff and shoulders with the black sleeves and the black and red shorts of Assos. And if you are regularly watching the fastest ice cream man from the west, you'll know he's always in a orange jersey with goggles on. So that personalisation that Zwift allows you to do, it makes riders' life easier, it makes my life a lot easier, and Russ's life a lot easier in terms of being able to call it, be able to ride it, and get the best out of the ride. So the riders at the moment all on the way down. Keeping my eyes open for Kieran Smith with the flat cap on the Tron bike, using the all-black kit. Interesting to see a few people popping off the back of them, pushing back in towards the front again. So the group out from the volcano, heading across towards the bridge once again. So just in with Pearson at the moment, and looks like it is pretty smooth here. The roads all working well, just getting some dings on the way through as people, we just keep up to date with exactly what's happening out there, which is great to see. Lots of people pushing messages out. The group riding well still all together as we come in towards the end of the second lap. just jumping back in with Russ, coming up towards the top of this climb. I'm going to drop back down in and through. Russ's heart rate still nicely under that 100 beats per minute mark. Interesting to see quite a lot of people riding on the new Bridgestone frame on Zwift. If you don't know how it works, Zwift measures and gives you different figures for the different frames. So a standard Zwift frame is much slower than the Pinarello frame on Zwift. Different frames have different characteristics. You've got a big aerodynamic frame, then it's heavier on the climbs. A lightweight frame, less good when it comes to going fast on the flat. Same with the wheels. So it is all about it being dialed to your choice. You need to make sure that you get all of the kit together and get the right bike for the right skill set you have, the right strengths and weaknesses as you go into a ride, and making sure that it does what you want. Now, sometimes we'll see people like Kieran Brown riding a mountain bike on the ride to have to work harder. He's deliberately making it a harder ride on his way through. Sometimes you'll see the riders choosing an aerodynamic bike on a lumpy or hilly ride, and quite simply because they know that they're in danger of being dropped on the fast descents. Sometimes you'll see some of the riders going for a lightweight bike on a flat ride with a hill climb finish, and interesting to see lots of lighter frames, lots of lighter wheel sets going in, less in the way of disc wheels and so on. Now, the lit up bikes, if you don't know what they are nicknamed the Tron bike. They're actually the Zwift Concept Z1 bike, to give it its really boring official title. It is the only bike that you can actually change the wheel colour on as well. You can't change the wheels, but it is the fastest all-round bike on Zwift. It's not a real bike, obviously, but the Tron bike is definitely one of the big favourites, and riders can just put them in and know that they've got a bike that's going to perform in most conditions. However, it's not the fastest climbing bike, it's not the fastest bike on the flat, it's not the fastest bike in a bunch, but it's a great all-rounder, and a lot of people like that simplicity. Russ, of course, choosing his Pinarello there, and always happy when he's on the Pinarello. He spent a lot of time on there. So the group making its way out from the centre of town and heading back towards the tunnels from downtown, heading out towards the tunnels. Now, this won't be a complete lap. This is going to be a part lap, and the part lap is really simple. We go out and follow exactly the same route until we've gone along the causeway from the Italian Villas, along the causeway towards the climb. When we hit the causeway at the very end of it, instead of going along the base of the volcano, we turn right and go through, and then spiral our way up and through the volcano, all the way up to the top, where the finish is at the KOM banner. Ignore the blue banner. If you've been on a Zwift ride, you'll think blue banner's the end of the ride. It's the end of the ride, but it's not where we're looking for. Key positions are when we get to the top of the KOM. It's the same fixed point for everybody on the ride. It ensures that everybody knows where they're heading, and it allows us to play a little bit more with the routes, and just as importantly, it gives you a warm down, because it means that you don't just slam all on the moment you come across land. The whole point of this is to become a better rider, and being able to do that and have something to look forward to means you need to be able to keep on riding. To do that, you need to warm down afterwards. So, riders into the tunnels. Looks like the group just starting to spread out a little bit as we go through here. A few gaps just opening up. I'm going to drop back to see how our Red Beacon's getting on. Red Beacon's more than happy. He's got Kieran Smith, Rich old Mr. Doxy for company, but looks like Brad's in here. Let's take a quick check of Brad. So Brad got a nice camo kit, and on the Zwift bike here. So Brad Cheeseman heading through the tunnels, and going to be up on to the climb out, sitting in with the group nicely here, in with Mr. Smith, and this group just pulling its way back towards the Yellow Beacon group. So Brad's heart rate now, Donny was remarking on this, so Brad at the moment 161, it's about double Russ at the moment. If we go to Russ is just ticking up to 100 beats per minute, whereas as Brad is at 165. I think if Ruster's 165, he's likely to explode. Let's have a little look for some more of our regulars. Let's have a little bit of cross section. So it looks like we're soon at 123. Pearson at 129. Let's have a look. Stevens not with the heart rate on, so we can't check that out. Tom 152. Dawes currently no heart rate on as well. Mr. Crawley 133. Heart rate's really important when you're on Swift. A couple of reasons for that. One is it gives you a good indication of how hard you're working versus how much power you're putting on. Comparing the two is a bit like having a permanent diagnostics hooked up so that you can work out how hard you're working and what your power output is, your performance is, and then you're able to measure your fitness gauge. You're able to work out when you're ill. It gives you a good indication when you're not riding well because you're tired, you're fatigued. So having that heart rate hooked up, absolutely key. And in fact, if you are heading out and racing on Swift, you must have a heart rate monitor on because you are out of the way. Now let's have a little bit of a look. Looks like there's a plea from the guys at the back for a little bit of help here. So looks like it's just opening up. Looks like Ted, Rich Orrell and Craig Genther, Matt No just being distanced as they come into the climb here. So a little bit of a word up for the guys on the front. Still got about 3 seconds gap in front of these guys, and it has just broken up. Russ just dropping back a little bit, and a quick call, guys, if you can get back, help the red beacon at this point. It's going to be easier to come back on. Ted, one of our regular riders on the chain gang, helping others, just getting distanced a little bit, then riders dropping back to go give a hand here. But it looks like at the moment it's Craig, Rich Orrell and Ted. Cannon just at the back here. Looks like Dr. D is doing a nice. He's back 0.8 watts per kilo. He's going to be watching on camera 6, which is your rear view mirror. He's just going back to help the guys out. Looks like Eddie Dench just sitting at the back of this pack as well. He's going to be keeping an eye on it. I'm sure Andy Hawes will be. Craig Herring definitely got the rear view mirror on and just watching it come back together again. So just watching Craig Herring at the back here, dropping back to help our red beacon bring riders back into the fold. Getting brought back. Andy Hawes on his way back through. So the first of those boardwalk bridges heading across towards those long sweeping climbs. Just watching this group come back. The red beacon again getting distanced here. So the pressure that's being put on the front as it starts to stretch out is starting to break people apart. So guys don't realise they're dropping riders here, and it is splitting it apart here. Yeah, but there was no call to lift at the pace. It's not needed to be. It's been absolutely mental all the way through, and look at the gaps that have blown into this group on the way past. So just trying to keep an eye on the riders on the way through here, and it looks like Rich Orrell, Craig Genther, Mr. Pearson and Craig Herring just having to sprint back in here. You just see getting out 12 watts per kilo to get himself back up towards that leading group. So big power going in there. He's just got alongside Andy Horsey just in with him as well. Looks like Rich Orrell is just a little bit further back. So watching Rich here. So Rich pushing to try and get back in there. Jim Flint is in there. Ted, Craig Herring, Andy Hall. So it looks like Craig Genther. They've got about 4 seconds behind the beacon. They're trying to push back in there. The guys at the front trying to ease back off. We're just going to have a little bit of a look up the road to see where Russ is here. Russ is sitting sub 3, so it's about keeping the pace down. We're on that uphill climb and it is fractured here, so just going to drop back a little bit. So this is the Red Beacon group, not the last group on the road. Looks like Jim Flynn's going to be our last rider at the moment. Jim hanging to the 30k mark, so great riding by Jim there. And looks like Craig Genther is just dropping by our Red Beacon there. So looks like the riders really having to fight to get back in. This is where the decision is going to be made. Are you going in or are you dropping back? And I think Oral's just trying to make that call. Ted should just about get back in. Halsey is going to get back in. Ted's just about, they're hanging there just a couple of seconds. They really are trying to push. They really have to motor like mad. Come on, Rich, get it up there. So Rich Genther in together at the moment. They're going to do a little bit of a push on. Ted and Andy Halls here really need to work together. They're hanging at 2 seconds. They can't get this gap down at the moment. I think Rich is going to be sitting in with the Red Beacon, so it looks like Rich and Craig Genther together with the Red Beacon. We've got Jim back there as well. It's not going to be long before the world and its brother is back there. Let's take a little bit of a check up from Andy. Andy's just trying to push in here. He's got riders with him, and I think Martin Bolt is on the back of this pack. Here we are, the group just about making contact and coming back in together here. It is absolutely hard stuff from these riders. They are nailing it on the way in, and that big push, it really is tough stuff, because when you come up that climb, you've got this lovely little kicker that I absolutely abhor as you come over the top. It's the worst thing ever, this little kick to go over the top here, and you can see it's taking its toll, because it looks like Martin Bolt has been distanced on his way over the top. I think the Red Beacon is going to be closing on down on him. So Ted at the moment back in. Mr. Bolt now out the back there. So it's going to be Bolt, Genther, Oral, as well as Flynn. There are riders towards the back. We're going to drop that in with the riders a little bit further up. Back in with Cannon at the moment. Just sitting on the back of this group. Let's have a little bit of a check at the front. This is pretty rapid down here. We drop in with Kieran Smith here, and oh, the GoGoGo is gone. It's gone. So the GoGoGo has gone. It's GoGoGo time. This is where it's all about getting it nailed. Look at Killingsworth on the front, pushing that pace up. There is an absolute flurry of power-ups from these riders that go through. Kieran Smith, 442 watts to stay in with this group. Dick Samuel sitting in with the pack as well. How long are these guys going to be in with Vin Donahue at the moment? Donahue, of course, one of our regular riders, and Vin just sitting in with that pack. The bus is on its way at the back, and it's going to need to be, because it is absolutely nailed on the front here. Now we're going to just drop in with Dawes here. So Dawes really is pushing out some big numbers on a basic bike there. So he is kicking some big watts per kilo. Watts out there. You're just watching Donahue come up over the top. So Donahue goes over the top behind Doxy's there. Looks like Varty, Herring, Whitelaw, Charlton. Everybody is in this group. Canham is in here. Dick Samuel. Just going to keep an eye on young Mr. Oliver, who is in this group. Looks like the world and its brother really is pushing on here. Just going to drop back to Russ. Russ's heart rate 127 at the moment. And you can just see from that helicopter view that the group is well and truly splitting up. So the lead group is pushing on. Russ gets into the back of the lead group now. We are going to be taking this right hand turn any second. Group 2 looking like it's forming with Andy Halls in there, and the riders come around. They take the right hand turn. This is the first kicker up into the Volcano itself. It's a sharp little beast, because it can really tear your legs off as you go in, and at the moment it looks like Killingsworth just being distanced, and Charles just about in the pack. Looks like Cannon just about in there. As the riders go up that climb, it really is tough stuff, and it's starting to break up at the front. If we take a little bit of a look, you can see those groups fracturing. But this is what the Volcano's like. It's a kick up, it levels, it kicks again. We're just in with Russ at the moment, 133 beats per minute. And that group is pretty much all together. There are one or two people just starting to string it out on the front, and I think it's young Mr. Crawley who has got the bit between his teeth, leading this ride out. 171 now. He's a youngster, so he can push on hard, but this is big numbers for Crawley here. 450 watts, 170 beats per minute, 93 revs a minute. Varty and Dench behind, and it's Varty leading the chase at 5 watts per kilo. Through underneath that gantry we go. It drops back down again. It's a little roller coaster, but they are really working hard here. So it's Herring, then Varty, then Whitelaw, all in that front group at the moment. So Paul Whitelaw, 146 beats a minute, 145. He's just keeping it steady. It's in that pack. 80 Dench is in there. Dench, remember, 19 minute 59 at the weekend. This really is tough stuff because the riders now come out. They're going to come past the bridge, with the bridge on the right hand side, and just keeping a check on young Mr. Oliver here. 191. That is the highest we have seen so often. So look at this. It is Oliver. That's the highest heart rate we've seen for a long time, young man. So Isaac riding in that GB kit. It's got Kieran Smith behind him pushing on here, and I think the red bus is going to pick up a lot of people tonight on the way through. It is pretty blown out. Look at it. It's like dot to dot round the Volcano at the moment. So here we go, leading a group. Doxy in here, leading the group out. Herring sat on his wheel, so it's Doxy in 1, Herring in 2, Crawley in 3, Varty in 4, Whitelaw in 5. Dench is in that mix somewhere. Always difficult to keep a track where everybody is in real life, never mind when we head to Zwift and this fantastic platform, giving us some great racing. I've got to say a massive thank you to all of the guys at Zwift. They really have helped us from the word go on the Chain Gang. Our secret event status allows us to really mix it up, to keep a check on where everyone is. And remember, if you want to ride, just go on to the Join a Ride links on the Facebook pages or on the website. So leading group starting to stretch out. So Dawes chasing, about 7 riders in front of him. He has riders really close behind though, because he's got Charlton, Green, Massoon, Smith, Downing, Childs in there. They are working well together, and I think Shelley at the moment just glued to Russ's wheel. Russ now dropping behind Charles, but they're 7 seconds down on this leading group of riders at the moment. So Crawley back on the front, just pushing it up a little bit there. Herring very quickly onto the wheels. So let's pick out some colours for you. So Craig Herring going on the front. He's got the Downing Cycling coach rider, the grey kit with the green side stripe on. The rider who is right on the front is Doxy. He's in the grey. Whitelaw in the orange. Dench is in the red and white. So if we go directly up above them, the red and white is Dench, and he's already putting a feather flag on. He's got the power up going in. I think Varty is doing the same here. Just take a little bit of a check. Yep, Varty is with that power up over his head here. So Varty using that power up to get him up over that little rise, but now he's onto this descent. It's not going to be helping him at all. Let's get the drone cam up and flying. We've had a day off from the drone cam today, and this is where it really does come into its own, because you can see at the moment it is all over the road. Crawley now pushing onwards. Now you've got to be a little bit careful. Watch the numbers on the right hand side. It is totally inaccurate, because the way this works is it works as if it is on a 2-dimensional on one plane. So it is taking everybody as if they are riding around on that flat map. So the distances and the time gaps are inaccurate. You've got to watch your screen. If you're ever racing it, you can't trust the numbers at the side. Crawley is chasing in the black. Whitelaw making a move up here. Craig Herring is our leader. So it's Herring in 1. Whitelaw going on his shoulder, so they are the 1-2. Crawley in the black with the red band across his back in 3. Doxy in 4 on that Zwift concept bike. Then Oliver currently sitting in position 5 with the GB kit on, so it's 5 for Oliver. 6 at the moment is Dench. 7 is going to be Varty. 8 is going to be Kieran Smith, who is 12 seconds down, but he is distancing 9th place Russ Downing and 10th place Green. Russ leading a group onto the climb here, but those gaps really have opened up now. Crawley pushes on. Now, we said this is a stepped climb, and it really does look like that if you take a view from the side. We've got these treads of the steps where it levels off, and then you've got another kick as you go up. Now we're going back into the tunnels once again. You can just see the magma below, the volcano below. We're up on the top, so it's Crawley, Whitelaw, Doxy, Herring. Those are the 4 riders together on here. Plenty of lightweight bikes and some really interesting tactics here, because there are a few people on lightweight bikes. So Whitelaw is on Bridgestone, that's equally the lightest bike on Zwift. We've got the leader at the moment, Crawley, on the Canada, again on game lightweight bike. You've got a Zwift concept bike, a Tron bike in there, and that Tron bike belongs to Doxy. So Doxy has chosen to go with that concept bike, the Tron bike here, and on this course I don't think that's a bad choice, because you've got kicker after kicker after kicker, but they are separated by flatter sections. It's not a pure climb, and that is going to make a difference as these riders go up the top. Out from the tunnels we go onto the next circuit of the Volcano, and at the moment looks like Craig Herring just distanced a fraction, but quickly back onto the wheels here. So Herring just making his way onto the wheels, is pushing on. Now, this is the bike that had the title for a long time. The Specialized Tarmac Pro here, the lightest bike on Zwift for a long time. And not using the lightest bikes. Don't mind waving, Craig. Get your foot down. So Craig giving us a wave live here, and able to do so. Now, this was the lightest bike for a long time, but not coupled, interestingly, with a set of Melensteins, which are the lightest wheels on the game. As the riders ride around him, Doxy just behind in the black on the concept bike. Whitelaw on the front, Crawley, Herring sandwiched in between. 27 seconds back now to Oliver in what is it, 5th place. It's Dench in 6th, and just seen a bit of a kick here from Herring just to get himself back in with that group. Now the spiral starts to tighten here, and we're not quite at one full circuit to get to the top, but it's not going to be long before we're at 1 circuit of the Volcano to go. We'll literally have a few degrees to do that, and just keep an eye on Crawley here leading onto the boardwalk, and as he goes onto that boardwalk, this really is pushing on. 1 lap to go, 1 spiral, basically 1 circuit on the way through here, and this is where Crawley is on the front. He's pushing hard, 7 watts per kilo on his way up here, 177 beats per minute right on his wheels. You can just see this is Whitelaw, 158 beats. Remember, Paul Whitelaw is older, and he's going to have a lower top heart rate on his way through. Looking at Crawley working really well here, and Crawley's heart rate 178 really is pushing hard here. Now Whitelaw behind him, it's Crawley in 1, it's Whitelaw in 2, Doxy currently in 3. Some fantastic efforts. Look at that heart rate, 167. Craig Herring 175. Come on, Craig, mate, I can hear your heart thumping in Chesterfield from here over in the edge of Sheffield. Oliver 193. This man has just absolutely blown the heart rate off the scale here as they come up the climb. Remember, time is ticking away. Our riders are heading around towards the top of this. We've only got 41k to go. It looks like we're going to be tight on the distance. The riders to the banner at the top. This is where it's going to count. Our riders are pushing. Not long to go. This is the steep kicker. This is where the banner comes into view, and it looks like it's going to be between Crawley and Whitelaw. They are both out of the saddle here. They've got to push as they come up. It's 10% here First rider in and through, and there's a response from Crawley. Crawley's now got 12 watts per kilo. They're going to be sprinting for the line here. This is going to be close, and I think Crawley's going to get, look at that, Crawley out at 17 watts per kilo. We're quickly going to drop back to Doxy because we don't want to get dragged out of the ride and into the real world of Zwift. I did say that, real world of Zwift, but with the rest of the riders. So Doxy is coming up. Great ride by Doxy, taking third place tonight. Craig Herring is going to be fourth here. So great ride by Craig here. So great finish there. So it was Crawley in 1, Whitelaw in 2, Doxy in 3, Herring in 4. It's going to be this youngster in 5. He's taking it a little bit easier. He knows he's got that position relatively secured here because his heart rate's dropped under 190 for about the first time this ride. He's going to be Isaac Oliver, who's going to come through after. So Crawley 1. It's Whitelaw in 2, Doxy 3, Herring 4. It's going to be Oliver in 5 if he can hold off the chase behind. But look at this, who's coming? It is going to be Kieran Smith. Smith is pushing. He's pushing. Oh, Kieran is going to take this. Kieran is going to take away that 5th place here. So look at that. It is going to be Kieran Smith who's going to get that. It's going to be 5. So there we go. It is then going to be in Oliver 6, Adi Dench in 7. Varty is going to be our man, I think, in 8th place. So Varty's going to come through, taking 8th. And then we're going to keep a quick check. You can just see we're now getting riders mixed in who are on the way down as well as those on the ascent, which means that we're going to try and keep a check of everyone across the line. We're not going to be able to call you numbers, guys, but we are going to try and give you a view as you go over the top. So it's going to be Massoon and Green being chased by Charlton, and then I think it's going to be Dawes and then Downing. So you just see Downing closing in on the riders very, very quickly indeed. A little bit of a gap back then to Martin, who is on the climb, but Martin has a lot of company here, and this is going to be a really close. You can see those feathers going in as they kick up on here really hard here. Martin pushing on, Richardson closing in. Richardson's got some big numbers, but look at this, Martin's going to time this right. It's going to be Martin, then Richardson, then Greenway. Shelley Charles coming up to the top of the climb again, putting in a phenomenal ride here. So Charles up to the top of the climb here. So it's going to be Charles over the top. We're going to take a little bit of a look back. I think it is going to be Simon Runnett next, the man whose Instagram is always to be followed. But look at this, Lindley's coming like an express train. Lindley had loads left there, so it's going to be Lindley who goes in over the line next. So Lindley comes through, then it's going to be Runnett, then it's going to be Osman. Oh, is he going to pip him so tight as he goes in and through? Next we're looking for Donahue. Donahue on the top of the mountain now, and Donahue's going to be our next rider into the finish. He's just ahead. Canham is trying to close him down. Look, these two know each other well. Donahue just pipping Canham as he comes in through the line. Canham just needs to get that timing just right as he comes up. I'm sure that's going to come. We're looking forward to a real battle between those two. Then it's going to be a Morn from Stellaton coming up. Then Mr. Pillsworth himself. Going to keep an eye on Mr. Sutcliffe coming through. Then it's going to be John Garford immediately behind. Or should that be in front? Because Garford's just going to take this. So Garford goes through. Then it's Sutcliffe. Then it's the best dressed man in cycling. That's Dorsey being followed by Steve Hilbert. Looks like Dick Samuel is going to come through just in front there of Dr. D in the green, who's sprinting onto the back there. So Dr. D sprinting in just ahead of Wallace. Then it is going to be Mason. So it's Mason, the next rider up to the top. He's got Mike Killingsworth behind him. Then Trevor Crehan. It's going to be Pearson. So here we go, Mason coming up to the top, just going underneath the gantry. So it's Mason, the next rider in. Then it is going to be Trevor Crehan going through. Then Mike Killingsworth. So Killingsworth hitting the line immediately behind is Pearson. You just see riders dropping down in the distance behind. So it's going to be Pearson, our next rider, being followed then by it's going to be Sean Ferran. Yep, it is. So Pearson goes through the line in the green. Then it's going to be Sean Ferran, and then it is going to be Brad on his way up here. Great ride by Brad. And plenty of learning to be done by this young man. He's certainly showed plenty of potential tonight to be right up there, putting in some great shifts to stay with the group. And once he gets that finessing done and that fine-tuning to not use too much energy early on, I'm sure he's going to be in at the finish. So Stevens is our next rider up to the line. I think Clark coming up behind. So Clark on that concept bike on his way into the line. He's going to come through clear of Andy Horsey, the next rider up towards the top. So just watching Andy now. So a 6 minute 1 second fastest time up the Volcano for Crawley. 6:01.5, a storming time to go through for that first place. And the riders well on the way up the slope. So Crawley at the fastest time. Andy Hall's going to be our next rider, who's going to hit the line just ahead of Lee. If we drop in with Lee chasing hard all the way here. So Lee coming in and through. Lee going to come through with a 10:05. Andy on a 10:47, just being passed there. We're just going to take a little bit of a drop back down again, because we're looking to see who's our next riders, and I think it is going to be the dynamic duo of Cannon and Hayward. Hayward on the front there in the pink and grey is going to be the rider who's going to come to the line first. So it's going to be Hayward just on the top of this climb. He's just ahead of Cannon, but Cannon's coming past here, so Cannon is going to be in danger of getting this. I think it's going to be Cannon who's going to get this. It is, so Cannon goes through, and Hayward just getting past on that last section, coming up to the top behind them. I think Ken Kerrigan is on his way through. A man who should never be driving our red bus, quite simply because it really would be quite literally a busman's holiday for him. Good to see Ken in and up to the top of the climb. A little bit of a gap back to Mr. Bolt, which means we're going to try and jump back in with Russ. So, Russ, how you doing? Are you alive still?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I rode one in there, I said I was going to do for once. So, yeah. It's good.
Great finish on that climb with Crawley, Doxey, Herring and Whitelaw all together, and really interesting to look at those different heart rates as well, because of course all those riders are different ages.
Yeah, you got me in trouble there. You were calling him Rich, which is his dad, and it made me call him Rich as well.
Who calls their children by the same initial and then puts it on Swift without actually putting which one it is? Guys, put your name and your surname, it's easier. You can see here, Rich Orwell has done it.
Yeah, I was out with him the other day over the Strines, and as soon as it goes uphill, he's Oski. So I was going to put a bet on him for tonight, actually. I wish I had done.
Well, yeah, definitely. It's he was absolutely flying. But good ride by Isaac Oliver, who's one of the youngsters out and riding. And I think he must be in line for some kind of prize or special mention, because I don't think his heart rate dropped below the 190 mark until the final K.
I better not give him any coffee then. His heart rate will go even higher.
Exactly, he's absolutely flying. So
200 there if he has some yellow beacon down him.
Yeah, definitely it'll be at numbers that we shouldn't really call. That's for sure. And but great ride there by the youngster, and flying his way up. But some really good rides by lots of people. I mean, everybody really working out. Just seeing Rich Orwell just ahead of Mr. Flynn and our beacon Craig Genther here as they come up to the top of the climb. These are our three riders remaining, and it's going to be Rich who's going to hit first. Then it's Jim Flynn. Jim, of course, is not the lightest rider. You can tell by the forearms. Look at those biceps. Don't you wish you had them with all that shoveling?
Yeah, but he was just distance, wasn't he, before we called GoGoGo? So he's done a good ride there. He's probably picked some riders off up there, maybe, but he's going well. Red Beacon's just rolled him for the fun of it. That's nice of him, isn't
it? Yeah, Red Beacon gives you a lift and then sprints up. But we know Craig is an absolutely class rider, and it's great to have so many volunteers riding on that Red Beacon. But that's all our riders in and home. So, Russ, do you know what? Time for a cold Bath Brewing Company beer, I think, to celebrate a really fast and successful check-out.
That's not bad, is it? I just feel as though I've just about warmed down and everyone's in, so that's That's good stuff.
Compact and bijou, a bit like your pain cave, mate. Although that's quite sprawling and expansive these days, I think.
Gareth Mason messaged me earlier. He said, "What the heck are you building, a bloody castle?" I was like, "It's a retaining wall, mate. It's nothing to do with the pain cave."
Well, I think you probably survive a tank hit on the way through there. So looking forward to seeing it when it is finished. So Ross, thank you very much. Right. I'm going to let you go get warmed down, get some of the soothing gel. As someone who suffers from a bad back, just like you do, damaged discs, damaged ligaments, don't worry about it. Get on Velaskin and make sure you get that soothing gel on your back. It's better on your back than it is on your legs, and it's amazing on your legs.
It's just too much wear and tear on the old body engine type thing, It's giving up the ghost. But yeah, great gang tonight, everyone, and hope you enjoyed it. And thanks for the support in the hotness of the old DCG den.
Definitely. Well, from Russ and from myself, Matt Payne, thank you everybody for watching on the Downing Cycling YouTube channel. We're going to fly out from here and go enjoy some sunshine out there whilst we warm down from the Chaingang. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have. We'll see you on Thursday.
See you Thursday. Ciao.